Hey everyone, this is Dean with DCA Crypto. Got some important things to cover in this video, so I'd appreciate if you subscribe to my channel, smash that like button, and let's jump into it. Alright, today I'm going to jump into some things in the markets today with crypto, what's going on with the Ethereum ETF and how it did yesterday, and where our chances of coming into a bull run here in the next month or two, or are we going to keep going sideways or down in the market? So let's jump into that. So Bitcoin currently around 65 to 67,000, kind of floating around in this range, and Ethereum around 34 to 3,500. The ETH ETF, the spot ETF, did pretty well. I want to cover that in a minute here. We still have BNB up above Solana here in that 89 billion market cap. Solana still at 80 billion market cap, holding strong around $170. So they're holding up pretty well. If we jump into this article here from thestreet.com, the Ethereum ETF surpasses 1 billion in volumes on the first day of trading. So this is pretty good. Not quite as good as Bitcoin here, but it did pretty well. The Ethereum ETFs impressed investors with the first day of trading that lived up to the hype. And this is kind of what I estimated. I didn't think it was going to do as well as Bitcoin, but I thought it would do okay. And they're, the experts are impressed with how it did, so that's good. On Tuesday, the spot Ethereum exchange traded fund or ETF went live for the first time, heralding a historic moment for U.S. crypto investors eager to see the second largest crypto by market cap get attention of the mainstream investors and Wall Street. BlackRock, Fidelity, VanEck, Bitwise, 21 Shares, and others were among the Wall Street issuers unveiling the new investment funds to investors. In total, the new funds garnered more than $1 billion in trading volume. And they're saying the launch of the spot ETFs comes on the heels of January's approval of the Bitcoin ETFs, which we already know that. They've been waiting for this milestone for a very long time here. So it said day one in the books here for the ETH ETFs. It did $1 billion in total volume, which is about 23% of what Bitcoin did on its first day. And Ether did 25% of IBIT's volume. The gap between Ether and the newborn 8 is a healthy plus 625 million, and they're saying a sizable chunk which should convert into inflows. So they're hopeful that they'll have some inflows with this in the future here. They're saying the short term, the ETH ETF's not expected to draw on as much investment inflows as Bitcoin. But they're saying that the analysis do see Ethereum ETFs attracting monthly net inflows of between 750 million and 1 billion, an impressive level for a new ETF fund class. So you guys got to keep in mind that every little bit of adoption helps with inflows of money coming into crypto. This is only going to be positive for crypto in the long run and get more exposure to it out there and make people more comfortable with investing in it as well. So Bitcoin and Ethereum present a distinct value proportions to investors, and they're saying here that Bitcoin is perceived as digital gold with a fixed supply, serving as an inflation hedge. In contrast, Ethereum is seen more of a technological platform and alternative financial system. Given the current geopolitical uncertainties, Bitcoin will likely continue to be the primary asset of interest. However, in the long term, they believe the focus will shift towards Ethereum and other smart contract platforms. And I think Solana is going to do extremely well once its ETF launches here. And if we ever get an ICP ETF and some of the others, like hopefully Chainlink and those, I think those are going to do really well also. So if you look at the chart here, we did get rejected off this 68,000 level here. So this is not actually too hot, not too fantastic here. If you look at what we did here, we just kept punching through. We never really got rejected here. So I don't know, if we look at this here, this looks like we're still on a downward trend possibly. Maybe we're making a giant bull flag here. That is another possibility. We could be making possibly a giant bull flag depending on what we do here. If we keep narrowing this in with and then higher lows here, it's possible that we have a bull flag. We'll have to see what happens with this develops out. And I'm not too great at charts, so can't really say too much on that, but right now, if you look at this closely here, we are right on the 20-day EMA currently. We did bounce off from that, so that's good. We didn't punch through yet. It's possible that we do, and if we do, we might come back down in these 50,000 range here again. So that's something that we do have to keep in mind here. We're kind of on a downward trend, so we'll have to see how this plays out here. So my thoughts on this here, if you look at the psychology of a market cycle, you know, we could be right here where we're coming down and we're starting to come back up here, and then maybe we'll start jumping up into this bull run. It's really difficult to say, or maybe we're down here where we've made a new all-time high and we're going to come down and have a bigger correction down here before we take off again. It's just really hard to say what's going to happen here. If we jump into the Bitcoin rainbow chart here, you can see this last bear market when we jumped up here. Now this was before the halving, of course, so we're after the halving right now, but still the same. We did come up here and get, you know, quite a ways up, and then we slowly went down all the way into the bottom of this green zone before we were going to start taking off again. And then we had COVID hit, so, you know, we could have been taken off into this bull run earlier if we didn't have this COVID, you know, crash here. So kind of keep that in mind. We got to kind of ignore this. It looks like we were going to start taking off here, but maybe we were going to come up and then come back down and then take off again. We don't know exactly what was going to happen here. COVID kind of threw everything out of whack. So, but you can see we did come all the way down in this lower dark green area before we started taking off again. So, you know, if you look on the chart here, we are on a downward trend. We could come down into this green area maybe into October, which would put us into the high 40s to low 50s range. If that happens, you know, that could get us down to, you know, 48,000 possibly before we take off into the bull run. We don't know for sure what's going to happen. So just kind of keep in mind that until we make this new high and we get back up above this yellow zone, up above like 73, 74,000, we're not out of the woods and we're not in the bull run yet. So we can still kind of wait and see what's going to happen here and not expect us to take off yet. There's a lot of influencers out there right now saying that we are right at the cusp of the bull run and it's going to happen any day now. Maybe, but people, you know, are going to get pretty pissed off at them if we come down to 48,000 again, and people might lose hope. So just kind of keep that in mind. This is still in the cards. You know, we're not out of the woods yet. And until we get up above, you know, my opinion, 72, 73,000 and make that our support level, and preferably a new all-time high, then we're not really out of the woods yet. And we could continue to slowly come down towards the end of this year before we take off, maybe in November and December. So don't give up hope if this happens, guys. I'm expecting this to happen. If we take off sooner than this, great. But I'm expecting us to come down here in this dark green zone and make a full correction on Bitcoin with more accumulation before we take off into the main bull run. Now, that's going to be painful for us if that happens, of course, especially on your altcoins. It's going to be painful for me a little bit because I bought Bitcoin at 68,000. I should have waited till we got down here to what it was at, I don't know, 54,000 or something. I should have bought, you know, some down there, but it is what it is. Long term, I'll be fine. In fact, I was break even the other day when we were above 68,000, so I'm not worried about it. I just would have been nice to pick up a little bit more Bitcoin when I put some money in there. So, but I'm gonna, if we get down in this, you know, 50-some thousand range again, I'm gonna definitely buy another half of Bitcoin if we get down close to 50,000 again. So when we eventually take off into a bull run, I'll have a whole Bitcoin to hold on to. That'd be nice if that happens here. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's kind of my predictions on where this is going to go. We're either going to go sideways for a little bit here and then take off to a new all-time high, or we're going to get a bigger dip before we take off into the bull run. The third scenario, which I don't think is as likely, is the bull run's over. I don't think that's the case, but it is a possibility. We do have to keep that in mind. I think that's the, you know, like a 10% chance of that, just my guess on it. And I would say we're about 50-50 on the others, maybe 55% chance we're going to come down lower before we take off in the bull run, or maybe a 45% chance that we're going to slowly take off into a big bull run and make a new all-time high here over the next couple months. But with the ETH ETF coming into play, if ETH starts getting bought up and we have some big inflows and ETH makes a new all-time high, that could turn things bullish like it did with the Bitcoin ETF, and we made new all-time highs with that. Difficult to say either way, but just be prepared for both scenarios just in case, so you're not expecting the bullish scenario and we have a little bit of a bearish scenario. You know, people give up hope and thinking the bull run's over. It doesn't mean it's over. So keep that in mind, guys. This has happened before in the past. You can see it right here. This has happened. Look at this. It was over a 50% correction before we were going to start taking off again. So this is normal if this happens. This is not like, granted this was earlier in the cycle, but it is normal to have a big correction after a big run up before we take off into a new all-time high and you know, big bull run. So just a little bit later in the cycle here, we did have, you know, the Bitcoin ETFs push us up higher. So if we get a correction down in here, or I think the median price on Bitcoin right now is supposed to be in the $48,000 range anyways. So we're higher than we should be technically anyways in the cycle. Technically we should be around the $48,000 range, but the Bitcoin ETFs push us up higher artificially. So definitely keep that in mind. So that's just my thoughts on this, guys, and where we're at in the cycle. I don't have a lot of news to have in this video for you guys right now. The market's pretty boring, not a lot going on, and I just wanted to kind of throw this out there for you guys to keep in mind what the scenarios are, remind you of where we're at and what could happen from here. And, you know, either way, I think we're going to have a bull run. Not a guarantee, of course, so it's not financial advice for any of you out there. This is just my thoughts that I'm sharing out there. But, you know, if we do have a drop on in price before we take off in the bull run, in my opinion, not a big deal. It gives me time to add more to my bags before we go screaming higher and finally take off into that massive bull run, hopefully towards the end of this year and into 2025. Let's hope for that, guys. So that's pretty much what I got for this video, guys. I appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next video.